All right, welcome to this video. In this video, we're basically going to show how Julie Myers, which is one of our clients, was able to close $1.4 million in deals in 1 week from one single client who was basically selling two homes to buy a new one. So without further ado, my name is Sam Spijkerman. I'm the founder and CEO of Samwhere Online. So yeah, basically Julie came to us after being in the game for 2 years, and she was basically relying on methods such as using Market Leader, Zillow, Redfin, and actually she used a little bit of Facebook, but never really had great success doing so. So she joined us because of the case studies and all the proof that we have of delivery. She's basically an agent from Portland, Oregon, sorry. And yeah, she was able to have great success and actually renew with us as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and yeah, we'll hope you
yesterday, and she mentioned some pretty cool results. So I just wanted to see, like, what we always do is research what our clients do to get those results, and then we reverse engineer it to make our product better. So that's kind of like the purpose of those interviews. So yeah, first of all, Julie, if you could quickly introduce yourself, how long you've been in the business, education, et cetera, et cetera.
My name is Julie Myers. I am with Keller Williams Portland Elite, and I've only been in the business for 2 years. So pretty short time in comparison to some others.
Absolutely. And let's see, when did you get started with us? Was it about 4 or 5 months ago or so?
It was about 4.5 months, maybe 5, but I think closer to 4.5 months.
Gotcha. And can you tell me a little bit about, like, what your success been so far? And then after that, we can basically talk about how you've done it.
Yeah, I just closed my first deal that came out of Samwhere, and it was for $521,000. So paid my fee and then some. And then I have two other. I'm having a meeting with two other clients that came out of Samwhere this coming week. One is for $1 million listing, and which I'm pretty stoked about. I'm pretty excited about that. And the other one is a double whammy. I get to sell their house and help them buy another one. So basically 3 transactions. So in total, 4 transactions that have come out of Samwhere, all of them above the 5,100 range. And that's in about 4.5 months.
Awesome.
So I thought that was a pretty good return.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. And so yeah, in terms of follow-up, what has worked best for you so far, for example?
I do try to weed out those who are just shopping, who, you know, they really have no intention to buy. They just like looking at houses. And I try to weed out the renters, because I do get people asking me for rentals all the time. So that's one of my very first question is, are you working with an agent? After that, are you looking to buy or sell? Those are my 2 top questions. And I usually do that. I try to do that by phone. If I cannot, then I'll do it by text. It's super, super important that you get a phone call. Don't get lazy and just do texting, because I know that, you know, everybody thinks, oh, we're in the age of texting. But there's something about that phone call that it just changes their perspective of you. And then once you have a phone call, then you try to get a meeting face to face. And that's how I've done with all of these. And, you know, and it has come through. So that's the main thing. Weed out, don't have a lot of junk in your database, you know, just so you have the numbers. I don't think that that's worth it. You want to have a healthy database. You want to have a database where you have future clients as well as current clients. And, you know, so don't just have a lot of junk in there. So that's what I do. That's how I approach it. It's phone call. That's my first goal, is to get a phone call. My next goal is to get a face-to-face meeting, over coffee or wherever. I don't really care. Once they meet you, they put a face with you, you talk with them, you've been kind with them, it makes all the difference. The other thing that I do, and I got this, I can't say this is my original idea. It's not. I was reading or listening to a podcast, and it so impressed me that this is how I got the $1 million listing. She's having trouble. It's an estate, so that's in trust, and everybody's against her. All her siblings are fighting and everything. And so what I did, when she told me everything, I said, listen, I said, what do you need help with? Whatever you need. Even if I have to pick up a paint roller, what do you need? How can I help you? And she was so blown away by that she was like, can you meet next week after Thanksgiving? So we are in the business of service. And that doesn't just mean how many transactions you can get so you pad your bank account. The whole thing is relationship and service. And the minute you start saying, what can I do to help you? What do you need? Their whole demeanor changes. They're no longer, they don't look at you as somebody who's coming in to, dominate them, or you're just wanting their business because you want the money or whatever. They're going to look at you totally different once you say that. And then you got to be prepared to actually do it. So that's the other thing.
Gotcha. That's good to know. Those are definitely some good tips, and good to hear about that story as well. So basically what you do, like when you get a response from someone, like a text message, do you just, when you get the text message notification on your personal phone number, do you just click on the phone number and call them from your personal cell? You've seen that work best, or?
I've done it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it where I've clicked on the phone number or the text that came, and then I've also called from the CRM. I'll get it out. I don't know which one is better, to be honest with you. I know that a lot of people, if they don't recognize the number, they won't pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sometimes when I click on it and call from my personal phone for the first time, they're like, I don't know this person. I don't know anything about them. And so they don't pick it up. I'm assuming, and I don't know, Sam, if this is true or not, but I'm assuming that they are familiar with the number from the database because you've already made some contact with them.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So they recognize that number. So I would say probably I've had more results calling from the database versus calling from my personal phone. But what I have done also, like I had somebody who contacted me like at 11 o'clock at night. They were out there doing that night surfing, and so I was awake, but I wasn't going to call them. So I just popped a really quick text to them as soon as it popped up, and I said, "Hi, this is Julie. Thank you for answering my Facebook ad. It's late. I'll call you tomorrow." And that was it. I didn't say anything else. And I called her the next day and I got an appointment. So,
good.
But that phone call is super, super, super important. People can ignore a text.
Yeah, no,
It's really
absolutely.
easy to ignore a text.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually good that you mentioned that. For the people that are going to do a database reactivation and the outbound campaign, or I think it's in database reactivation important. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, follow up, for example. Now it's going to say it's going to have a voicemail drop, and it has this in all the other campaigns as well, right? It has it in the PAM V2 35 days campaign. Make sure to put it in there as well. Yeah. Because what it's going to do, it's going to show up as a missed call on their phone, and then they're basically going to be calling you back. So that's probably why you got that call as well. If you have already put that in there. and it's been working super effective as well. You can even do like voicemail drop in mass as well, right? And then batches of 20, so you keep like have people calling you, but not too many at once. But that's good to know.
Give you another little thing that I do. A
Yeah,
little thing, but it works. Okay.
yeah, no, absolutely.
When I get a thing, an alert that somebody has, answered my ad, I always call them first. Okay. But most of the time I get a voicemail. So I don't go through and say, oh, this is Julie Miller or Myers. I am with Keller Williams and thank you for answering my ad. Blah, blah. I don't do that. I just, for the message I leave, it's like, hi, this is Julie. Call me when you have a chance. And I leave it at that. And you would be surprised how many people will call me back because they're like, Julie, they act like they're a friend. Are they a friend? And then they'll call me. Who are you? And it's a great way to get them on the phone. Just a little hint.
That's awesome. And that's in the voicemail drop, right? That you've done?
Yeah, I did do voicemail. I did record one. And, but what I just do that when I call and they don't answer and it's their voicemail, that's the message I leave for them. It's just, hi. And I sound really peppy and hi, how you doing? This is Julie, call me back. And 9 times out of 10, they call me back.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Cool.
So are you saying, Julie, that when they hear that you're from a real estate office, most of the times they won't call back, right?
Exactly. And because a lot of people will surf the internet just for fun, or they like the house that's in your ad. You wouldn't believe how many people said, I want to see the house that's in your ad. I'm like, sorry, you can't. So a lot of them are just surfing. But if you can get that phone call and narrow down what they're looking for and get that initial relationship going and get them to a face-to-face meeting over coffee or whatever, you have a really good chance of solidifying that.
Julie, how do you deal with ghosting? The people that you've helped out and they just ghost you. Do you have a high rate of that?
I do. Well, I can't say a high rate. I have them. Okay. So yeah, that does go on. There's really not a lot you can do about that. What I do is I put them into the RMLS prospecting and I just let them get the RMLS. If I feel like that's what they're doing to me, then I just kind of leave that alone and let RMLS run its course. At least I'm making a contact with houses that they told me that they were looking for. But there's not a lot you can do about the ghosting. Again, because we're in a service, a field of service and a relationship, you have to put that out to everybody. It's not a pick and choose unless they're looking for rentals and you don't deal with rentals, or they're just shopping and they told you, hey, I'm just shopping and I'm not looking to buy right now. I can't buy. I don't have the money right now. Or I'm looking to rent to own. I get that a lot. Those, you could weed those out. Those are obvious. The rest of them, you just have to kind of take your chances with.
Absolutely. Gotcha. And all right, I think, giving a call, again, coming back to like your first point, it's probably like the best way to get back to those people. And I would try this from either the personal phone number or the CRM number, because one of the two they're not going to recognize and they're bound to pick up from one of the two as well, especially when you double dial them, right? Because if you dial them the first time and then they don't pick up, dial them the second time, usually they pick up. Otherwise, you leave a voice message. Not saying that you are with a real estate office, just say like your name, that you had contact, for example, stuff like that. That's what really well we've seen.
Yeah, I don't even give my contact number because it's on their cell phone.
Yeah.
And most everybody is operating off a cell phone. So
Mhm.
I act like I'm just a friend. I don't give my contact information. I just say, hey, it's Julie, call me back. And I had this one guy call me back. I did that like a month ago with him. And he called me back just the other day. And I was like, he was like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. How are you? Well, I'm fine. And he was just kind of fishing around and like, can I help you with something? Well, I don't know if you can help me. And we just kind of went back like that. Finally, I said, well, I'm a realtor and you called me. So you must be looking for houses. And we got into a discussion from that, and we're going to be getting together. And he called me back from me just saying, hi, it's Julie, call me. So it was a little awkward at the beginning. And it was like, okay, who are you? Who are you? You know, but we got past that. He thought it was funny. We all laughed about it. It was really a good way to break the ice and get a meeting with him.
Absolutely. So that's what we see as well. Like not being too salesy, not pushing the offer right away, working very well. Trying to come over as a friend. That's what we discussed as well. And if you want to have more in detail about that, it's kind of something that we discussed in module 4 of the course area about lead conversion, if anyone wants to know. But yeah, that's basically the best ways to convert, come off friendly, because these people are getting a lot of calls already. So we're not the only ones, unfortunately, but we are trying to be.
You need to stand out. And so you can't be serious. You can't be, you know, you got to be their friend. You got to be there to help them along the journey and whatever that may be. You know, I just closed on a deal. I didn't get this through Samwhere, but it was a group of 5 kids. Believe it or not, they're all in their 20s. They've been together since high school. They wanted to buy a place together. I can't even tell you the journey. I won't go into it. It's been wild. Okay, I piled them all in my car and taken them around. I bought them lunch. I've done all kinds of stuff with them. They are so loyal with me. It is unreal. They love me to death. They gave me hugs when I passed over the keys and all of that. It's like we're now family. In fact, he said that. He goes, we're family now. And that's what you've got to do, because then they're gonna come back and use you again.
Absolutely. All right. So I know you mentioned a lot of, you dropped a lot of golden nuggets here for everyone that's on the call. I'll also record this call, or it is recorded. What is the one thing that you recommend for other agents to succeed?
The number one thing, especially with leads like this, well, first of all, you gotta call them. You gotta follow up. There's no other way around it. You have to follow up with them. You have to call them right away. You cannot take a week or 2 weeks to call them and get that meeting face to face. Nothing more important than that. If you want to be successful in a lead-based program like this is an awesome program. You're going to get more leads than you know what to do with. I have leads, and I'll admit that I haven't even called on because there was days that so many came in, I just couldn't keep up with it. That's an awesome problem to have. But you have to follow up, you have to get the phone call, and you have to get the meeting. That's the most important.
Gotcha. That's definitely a good one and good advice, because it shortens up the sales cycle as well. Try to get them on the phone right away. Text messaging back and forth can take a long time to actually get them on that appointment.
Exactly.
And they just see the text, they don't see the person, they don't hear the person. So
exactly. Yeah. They've got to connect you with everything. Or if the next realtor who contacts them and texts them, they can be off with them and you'll never see them again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you got to stand out. Absolutely. Good. All right. So let's see. So those were my questions for Julie. Does anyone else have any questions for her, or do you want me to? Do you guys have any other questions? Feel free to let me know.
I have a question. this is Regina. So my biggest difficulty is getting that in-person meeting. If I'm not going to show them a property right away, then what are you saying to get them in the office?
Don't get them into the office. That's too formal. And that's kind of they look at that as that they're obligated to do something. You're walking into an office. I tell them this is no obligation meet and greet. We meet over coffee. Sometimes we'll do it over showing a property. If that's the only time we have, I take advantage of that. But the best thing is where you can sit and just have a casual conversation over a cup of coffee. Let them know that there is no obligation. That's one of the biggest things because they're afraid that they're going to have to sign on the dotted line. Okay. Your job, once you get to them, is to convince them why they should sign on the dotted line with you. That's your job as a realtor. Once you're face to face, why are you the best person for that thing? And you don't want to get into all the, don't sound businessy in it, but just use good sound facts. Like I was talking to, I have a coach as well, and I was talking to my coach and I said, okay, I've got this $1 million deal. I'm meeting on Friday. I need some help. How do I say this? What do I do? Because they want to try to sell it on their own. And it's like, seriously? Okay. And she knows the area. She knows the street that it's on is worth that much money and probably more. And she says, just tell them in the market today, people are bidding over. She said, you can probably get them at least 1.2 for that house with the bids that are going on. It's a coveted area. People are going to buy it. It'll be gone in a week. She said, so explain to them that your fee is only going to be about $60,000. So therefore, you just gained another $140,000 to split between your siblings. Wouldn't you want to do that? If you sell on your own, you're going to get the first dude that walks across your yard. You're not going to get what we can offer as a realtor. So it's that kind of stuff that you want to show them why your service has value and what that value is and what you're going to do for them. And then in that same meeting, you're going to say, and how can I help you? How can I help you get from A to Z? How can I help you on this journey? What do you need from me? And that totally sets people at ease. It takes that barrier down, and they're like, wow, nobody's asked me how they can help me. So it takes that barrier down, and 9 times out of 10, they'll choose you just for that very thing.
I appreciate that. It's good information.
That's definitely some good advice. I think that's the exact same wording that we use in our robot as well, that we put in your CRM, right? It's no obligation meet and greet. Those are like the words that we always use. It's like, as you could say, even with our for sale by owner campaign, like Ben Gallagher is not here because he's finishing up his college at the same time, but I think he made 40 grand in commissions in his first 4 months of working with us as a new agent. But what he did is he had a list of for sale by owners, and we already had the campaign set up, and we just said like, hey, John, I saw that you had some trouble selling your home. I just had a few quick tips. You mind sitting down for a coffee and going over it? Right? Something like that to just come up front with value, make it a no obligation meet and greet. You can even mention that in there. But after us analyzing like a bunch of accounts, like all of your accounts, we've seen that no obligation meet and greet is like the best wording. If you're even doing it over text, right? Even could work really well. And that's why we put it in our AI. It was kind of like the same AI that we did for you, Javier, and for a few others in this call. We basically said, are you open for a no obligation meet and greet? You can always change that, of course, but you've just seen that work really, really well. So thank you for the advice, Julie. That was awesome. Does anyone else have any questions? Or anyone wants to pick our brains? Let's see. see if everyone is still there. Just want to make sure that everyone is still there. Corey, Derek, Isadora, you all there?
Yep.
All right, cool. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions or anything that they want to go over, stuff like that?
Hey, Sam. So I don't know, this not really related to much of what we're talking about, but just since we have a bunch of agents here,
Yeah.
I have these buyers that I've been working with them since like July, and they're pre-approved up to 1.2 million. And we have seen probably 15 homes.
Mhm.
And there's been 2 homes that we've seen, one twice and one 3 times. And they finally put an offer in on a place. And they offered, I mean, this home's been on the market for 60 days. So, and they haven't had any offers. So we felt like we could offer a little bit lower, and still, but they wanted to offer, it was listed for $999. They wanted to offer $875.
Mhm.
So it's quite a bit lower, especially in the seller's market that we have. But the fact that they have, like, how do we get these buyers to pull the trigger? And I'll let you guys have it.
Let's see.
We need to know what's the response from the seller when they submit the offer.
I've had some buyers like that. I have one buyer that we probably viewed 15 homes, and he's super picky. He looks at the paint, feeling is there a mark on the wall somewhere? He picks the place apart. And it's with buyers like that, it's hard to get them to pull the trigger. It really is. You've got to show them the value. Obviously, if they want to put in a lowball offer, you have to do it. You don't have a choice as an agent. You have to submit what your clients are saying, even though you think it's ridiculous. And basically, you are their advisor. You have to. First of all, you've got to be familiar with the market. You've got to be, if that house they're looking at, they're serious, do a CMA on it. Find out yourself, what is that house valued at? Maybe the listing agent blew it out because he saw dollar signs. You never know. You have to do your homework too. So you need to do a CMA on that house that they're very interested in. And then based on that, you're their advisor. Don't make them feel stupid, but you have to be very honest with them.
Yeah.
And you say, listen, I'll put that offer in for you because I have to. That's the law. Okay? But I'm telling you, it's not a good idea. And this is why I don't think it's a good idea.
Right.
Now, they may go ahead and go with it and put it, and then you have to put it in. But you have to be honest with your clients, but in a very professional manner, and just let them know. Beyond that, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah. This particular, thank you so much. And I apologize. I got a phone call right after I asked the question, but I heard everything you said. So thank you so much. If you can't notice, I'm working 2 jobs. So I did all the comps and everything else, and I had it around 850. So they weren't, or 950. So it was still overpriced. But thank you.
Job put on. Wow, that'd be hard.
Yeah.
Be hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, I think he's working at the same time already at this point of time.
I would love to know what the seller's response was to that.
Yeah, what they said, right?
The seller's probably frustrated too that it's not selling.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
what
guys.
did the seller say, Garrett?
So okay, so I'm so sorry about this phone. I'm by myself. And, anyway, yeah, so they wanted to offer about $120,000 less, and I had them all my comps led me to believe that they were overpriced by 50, 60,000. So I think they were offering obviously too low, but they hadn't had any offers in 2 months. So I thought, well, we'll put this in and hopefully get a counter offer, and then we can go from there, you know? And then my buyers threw me a curveball. They said, well, ask them, we want all the furniture too. So so they wanted to offer so less. And I mean, this is $1 million home. So, there's $50,000 worth of furniture. So it took begging and pleading just to get a counter, but we got a counter and we ended up not getting so even close to each other. But, it's just the way it works, but we'll keep looking.
Yeah, you need to let your buyers know that they have to be realistic, and if they're approved at $1 million, then they need to, if that's the price range they're wanting to look in, then they've got to be realistic in that. They can't lowball people. So.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see. Those are some great tips, and it's great to have this discussion, actually. Let's see.
I'll say this one thing, Sam. First of all, I love your weekly meetings. I know I'm not in all of them. I try, but sometimes I just can't be there. But and I love that you do a lot of training on the database itself and what we can do. But I know when I first started into your database, in your system, it took me a little bit. I was not just from the standpoint of your system, because you do a lot of training on that and it's wonderful. But a lot of what we're discussing right now, okay, now I have all these leads. What do I do with them? How do I handle them? What do I, how do I approach them? And I think that these kind of discussions are good as well in your weekly meetings, just because we get so much from you. We have so many leads from you. And when you're new into the program, you're overwhelmed. And it's like, okay, what do I do now? I have all this stuff. What do I do with it? So I think this kind of stuff is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that as well. And I love the feedback that everyone is giving as well. It helps our product, make it better every day. A few things. So we have if you haven't filled it out yet, I'm just going to drop a link here in the chat. Let's see. There you go. It's like a quick survey about our program. I know that a few of you have probably already filled this out. Takes about 5 minutes. I'll basically send you an Amazon gift card. If you haven't received it yet, I will be sending it today. Just like a quick survey, what you think about the program, what we could add, because it helps us a lot as well. And especially with your guys' feedback, it helps our product make it a lot better for everyone else. And we can see what the bottlenecks are as well. Let's see. Let's see if we have anything else to mention. Let's see. If there's anything else. Okay. So one thing that we've been working on is an IDX connection, like IDX feed, so that you can host a real estate website through our CRM. And that would basically be for free. There would only be a setup fee. And then you would pay IDX broker $50 a month. I just wanted to survey as well how many people would be interested in that. Basically, that would have the possibility to send, put people on MLS searches automatically when they come in. or set up an MLS search in our CRM, and also have a MLS search doable on our website that's also hosted on our CRM. So kind of like an all-in-one solution. And at the same time,